Well, hi there and welcome along to another edition of Friday Night Lights. This week, joined by Johnny Wood, as always, and Dukey in the chair. How are you, Dukey, all right?
Fine, thanks, Tom.
Yeah? Had a good week?
Yes, very good week. I was rubbing shoulders with the great and good of Irish racing during the week.
Wow, brilliant.
So
That's good stuff.
these are the circles I need to start moving in.
Yeah.
I mean, I like this circle as well, semicircle.
You were at the HRI Awards.
I was, yeah.
That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. You get a nomination next year.
Oh, thank you, Tom.
I think
That's
so.
what I'm talking about. Maybe that's social mobility, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Let's see how you get on here at Dundalk first. You've got to go through the card. Right, we'll start at the start. And Dukey, you like one this sprint. I guess in Amanat, I kind of can't believe Amanat's still in this grade, but you fancy something else.
I fancy Nig Bay. I seem to remember the last time I was invited on here, I tipped up Nig Bay, and he was very disappointing. But when you're dealing with horses rated in the low 70s, to err is equine, to forgive divine. So I'm going to forgive him. I do think he's the best handicapped horse in the race. His career was on a reasonably progressive curve, and I think even a repeat of his comeback run in Navan could be good enough here. So I'll go with Nig Bay.
Yeah, he's the kind of horse just needs a strong pace. He should travel into. He never seemed to travel.
He
last
needs
year.
to break as well.
Like
he's really killing himself with the break. This race is made for him as well. I think.
Yeah, exactly. So
with Amanat drawn 13 as well is a big help, I think.
Right. So. Let's
okay, good stuff. Right, move on to 6 o'clock. Johnny, you like one in this maiden?
I do, Tom. I thought it was a poor race, and I had to find something to win it. And I think Libra's Power for the Halford team. Ben Cohen claiming 5. By Slade Power ran well first time out. Was always sort of prominent enough. Kept on, met a bit of traffic, and I just think his horse improved a lot from a run.
Mick Halfords generally will improve from their first run.
Yeah.
Same goes for Slade Powers, I guess. Too.
Yeah, and this was just, looking at the form in the race, there was really nothing in it. And the newcomers didn't really take my eye either. I know Mick has Casaran in the race as well, Aga Khan horse. But I think Libra's Power could offer a bit of value because Ben Cohen is riding it, and it might be implied that this is second string, but I think it could well go off favourite.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ben Cohen was one of the finds kind of last year's winter series, and now he's pretty much the top
well established.
Well, he's close of the claiming apprentice. He's got to be near the top, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
Before we move on to 8 o'clock, 7:30 is a pretty decent race. That handicap, the mile handicap there. Guessing Captain's Joy probably taking this as once again another step towards Lingfield, but it's a decent renewal.
Yeah, with Joseph having Equitant and Kingsfield in the race, a very, very strong renewal. Kingsfield has been rapidly progressive since he was beaten when I backed him at Fairyhouse in Maiden behind the horse that was subsequently compared to Found.
Dramatised.
But it is a cracking race. I think tactics will be key. You'd imagine Captain Joy will come on for the run a bit, but it's by far the best race tonight.
Yeah, and interesting to see Dunica back from his holidays as well. So,
yeah, he was
no
at the aforementioned HRI Awards night in great form, as were the whole O'Brien clan.
Good stuff. Look at you, you just can't resist name dropping. What do you like? Well, on to the 8 o'clock. Give us a few winners here, because I think we're going to have a three-way go with this, and we might get the tri-cast between us. Dukey, we'll start with you.
I was going to put up Ancient Sands, so has ground to make up with Dawn Trooper from a race over 1.5 miles here a couple of weeks ago, but the extra 4 furlongs should help. Ran a very strong race over 2 miles in the Irish Desire, which finishing 6th. Not sure about the mark. It is probably about as high as he can go, but in the class edge we trust. So I hope that might.
And unlike you, someone who's willing to really put a shoulder to the wheel here, Rachel Blackmore heads to Dundalk of a Friday night. Despite picking up awards during the weekend, she's still here grafting away.
I loved Rachel Blackmore's interview in the again name dropping at the HRI. It was it's sort of like things have happened so quickly for her. She hasn't quite got the media training, so she answers questions truthfully. So it's just such
that's her first mistake right there. Yeah,
she had such an air of wonder about how all this is happening, but obviously because she's got skills.
Magic. Johnny, who do you fancy in this race?
They're well named. She's a star, considering we're talking about Rachel. You know, Noel Mead's horse have been in great form. This is a course and distance winner. And subsequent runs on turf would suggest she's not badly handicapped. She's only run twice at Dundalk, but I think she's, even though she's coming off a break, I think she'll run a huge race, not badly handicapped. You would definitely fear Ancient Sands, but I think just the way Noel's horse are run at the moment, you can nearly back them blindly. Put up one of his horses in an anti-post column for Sunday, actually writing it today for Leopardstown with a lot of confidence, because I just know his horses are going to continue in form for the time being. Hopefully for the rest of the season. But she's a star, very, very solid horse here, I think. Good chance. Okay,
well, to put up the three-way dead heat, I'm going with My Direction, who wasn't beaten far in the race last year, but has dropped £10 since. off a mark of 80, is one off 86, 82 and 89, I think. So definitely get the course and distance there for Elmarie Holden, and Oisin or banging form taking off £3 as well. So between the three of us, we should get
combination TriCast.
Absolutely, so absolute certainty. Right, on to the 8:30, Johnny. You like one in this maiden?
Yeah. So we I think Dukey was here putting up Wajaha the last day. Disappointing, really. And again, somehow the market figured it out. I don't know how this favourite went off so weak against Dawn Trooper.
I mean, that's sometimes in Dundalk, you kind of know your dough is done before the horses get to the stalls.
It still went off favourite, but it went off.
Yeah, but it drifted.
It drifted so weak. You were just like, how can this horse be odds again? How can this horse be so big against a horse rated £12? It's inferior when the horse has just come off the boat. Like, so it should be able to run to its mark. I thought it was disappointing, so it'll definitely win now. I'm going to oppose it tomorrow night.
It could potentially make the mark. It's still rated in the mid 80s. Like, so if you are going to oppose it, you should still get a prize.
In fairness to Dawn Trooper actually was better than its mark and is progressing for a trip. But anyway, just at the prices, Pampushka, this is a So You Think filly trained by Ray Cody, who I think was involved with Elmarie Holden, I think, training for helping her at one stage, but now obviously he's out on his own. But this horse is very well backed on debut for a trainer I think most of us would never have heard of. Being a Cody, I'd imagine he's from the Kilkenny region, but she ran really well and she was quite green. By So You Think out of a Dalakani mare, so there's a fair bit of stamina there, and this sort of trip should be ideal. Now, that race was run by a horse rated in the 50s, but the horse behind Pampushka...
It's okay, he's rated 63 now.
Yeah, the horse behind Pampushka was rated in the 60s, and I think the reality is probably somewhere in between, but I definitely think she'll improve, and I could see her running a big race. She's a bit defined with Wajaha, but so did Dawn Trooper, and she could be 8-9 to 1 maybe. I think she's a rock solid each way bet.
Yeah. Would you give Wajaha another chance here, Dukey?
Well, I was bitterly disappointed, Tom, but again, even running to the rating of the last day will probably be enough here, but I just couldn't bring myself. I came on the last day and tipped up two losers. To go and tip the same two horses again, I just couldn't do it.
Okay, fair enough. that's fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Die on your sword or put your sword away. One or the other, I guess. Right. On to the closer, Dukey. You're going to finish with a blinder here, aren't you?
Well, it's just my page here. John S is leaping off it. I find this horse so hard to get away from. I was hoping there are three pace angles in the race. Him, Carried and Pushak, and both Carried and Pushak run, which is a tiny bit frustrating, but he doesn't have to lead. Beaten 3 lengths by Massif Central the last day.
Yeah, that's standard.
Yeah, well, won't nearly have to scale those kind of heights here tomorrow. But it was 3 lengths back to the third, and it was a pretty decent race, a better race than this. He's won off higher marks. He only got £1 for finishing 3 lengths behind Massif Central. No shame in that. I just couldn't get away from him.
This is an interesting race from that pace angle because I don't think he needs to lead at all, and he had done most of his racing over a mile, 7 furlongs, and then all of a sudden over hurdles he's staying 2 miles. So you're like, this horse is probably well handicapped. Carried is a horse that I just think Prunella Dobbs' horses have been very quiet, and Carried is a horse once he goes out in front, when he's on his game, he's very, very hard to pass, but that hasn't been the case, and I think maybe the stable is just not quite firing, and I'd be one to back Carried nearly blindly when I know he's right. But I think I agree with Dukey here. I think Carried, Pushak, and maybe even the remarkable Park Row, who's had a great season. Yeah. He could make it as well. I think Jan S will just hack along behind them and has a great chance as well.
I think Secret Wizard could run a similar race to John S. And I just think we probably missed him a little bit because he was 20 to 1 the last day.
Not a bad race.
It's a deep enough race. Obviously, it's not a great race, but like competitiveness wise, it is, and just maybe another addition that's so
it was
precious.
Funny
line.
at the. Can we mention the HRI board?
I've been saying it all week.
I was talking to a Tipperary-based trainer, it wasn't Aidan O'Brien.
Mysterious.
It was a Tipperary-based trainer who was like just saying how much he'd love a second all-weather track. But I'm like, be careful what you wish for, because Dundalk is very, very competitive, and I wouldn't want 2 tracks dividing the load. A lot of the southern trainers not bothering to go to Dundalk anymore because it's just not really feasible. And Dundalk is really competitive. You see the size of the fields here, compare that to...
I mean, any of these handicaps, we can legitimately make case for 4 or 5 races every race, every week.
That's what bookmakers want. As a punter, that's what I want. And in terms of the competitiveness and the virtuosity of racing, you've horses rated 98 running here in an 8-runner field. The cards are excellent. So I'd have reservations about a second track.
Okie doke. Well, that's a nice cue to get us on to our best bets of the weekend. Then let's go with these. Right, Friday night. Your winners for Friday night. Cheeky, start with you.
Well, John S would be the one I'm convinced is going to win, and I'll also go Nig Bay in the 5:30 and Ancient Sands in the 8 p.m.
Okay, Johnny.
I could see the case for all three of them, but I am opposing you with She's a Star. I'll put that up as the third selection in the 8 o'clock. Next best Libra's Power in the 6 o'clock, and Pampushka is really solid. I really like that each way in the 8:30 for Ray Cody. Would be his first winner.
Okay, I'm going to go with Libra's Power in the 6 o'clock, Patrick Joseph in the 7 o'clock, and My Direction in the 8 o'clock. Right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week with more fun at Dundalk on Friday Night Lights.